The landscape from a device perspective and an access perspective is changing radically thanks to trends like consumerization, rise of cloud. But the fundamentals really haven't changed. California has a lot of policies in place already that are very robust and flexible to deal with and provide guidance for how organizations, state agencies can actually manage this change. User education, prioritization, asking questions about business use, business justification for certain changes, enabling device access, what kind of access users should have, how to handle personal data, reporting practices. All that is already actually quite well documented in the SAM and other state policies. So the question is for users is don't forget all of that, really leverage that as your guideline and your framework for moving forward. The other thing is there are a lot of tools available today. I think in some ways many new tools to address the new challenges. I think the thing that most organizations have to remember is that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. That there is no single magic tool that's going to solve every problem for mobile device access, social media, application security, cloud security. And I think what organizations need to decide is what is really if you think there's a spectrum, a line between full IT control, a very traditional lockdown approach, and full end user autonomy, a much more sort of brave new world approach. And very few organizations are going to be entirely at one end or the other. So they need to decide really where does my agency, where does my organization fit on that spectrum? What is my business and what are my business needs and what is my risk tolerance? And then decide what are the tools that are that solve my data protection, access, and security needs for where I sit on that spectrum. So I think one of the challenges that state agencies have in particular is they have a tremendous amount of personal information, taxpayer information, public health records, pension information. So as well as also court documents and court records. One of the interesting points about the SAM definition of personal information is it not only includes the personally identifiable information, but also statements said by or attributed by a particular user. So court records also can fall under that. Interviews with reporters, other things. So there's a tremendous amount of information and personal information that actually falls under the purview of under the umbrella of sensitive data that needs to be protected and needs to be reported in the case of a breach. So I think that to me is probably one of the more unique aspects of state agencies and of the state IT environment. That has a lot of implications because then it requires a lot of extra process and extra solutions, extra thinking in terms of deciding how you manage that information, who gets access to it, how long it lives, where does it go, what do you do when it's lost, how can you minimize the amount of it that's actually the state actually keeps.